If I can ask, how is transformation of the data capabilities playing a key role in Fidelity's digital transformation?
Yeah, great question. So when I think about digital transformation, it is definitely multi-layered. It's a very loose word that you hear in the industry. People talk about this in different ways, but I think about digital transformation. It's actually truly focused on end-to-end customer journeys and in a multi-layer way. If I think about the different layers we have, right? So we have our experience layer, we have the application layer, the data layer, and the infrastructure layer. And then outside of that, in many cases, we actually have a lot of offline engagement, an offline layer where there's nothing digital, right? So as we think about digital transformation, it is really about transforming all layers as well as where things are happening offline, bringing them digitally. So I think the key is it's multi-layered. And then as part of it, a data layer is essential and is very critical, especially I would say in the financial services industries. We operate primarily on data and information. If I think about connecting the data layer with other layers, in our experience, we primarily consume information, share data, exchange data. So the data layer is also important to the experience layer. Same thing on the application layer, whether it's transaction processing, applying artificial intelligence, creating insights. It's all based on data either we have in our internal systems or we're getting from our clients. And then we have the data layer. We're actually managing data, storing data, all the data warehousing, lakes, data transformation, data validation, everything we do, that's kind of very critical. And then we have the infrastructure layer where whether it's cloud, mainframe, internal, on-premise infrastructure, whatever is the case. So it's important to think about the data as a key part of all the layers. And to be honest, it is kind of a little bit sometimes misunderstood or not well understood by the business leaders. I think people tend to focus a lot more on the experience layer because you can actually feel and look and feel and see. But the real transformation happens across all layers. And to me, the data layer is a fundamental and a critical enabler. Without changing that, it is impossible. It's really hard to really do digital transformation.
Can I just delve into that just a quick second? When you say without changing the data layer, so do you have to deconstruct it and reconstruct it into a new design for the application? So can you expand upon that when you say you have to sort of reorganize the data layer? I just picked up on a thought. I just asked that question.
Yeah, I think it's a multifaceted approach to that. I think more and more as we capture and store and manage a lot of data, how to make sense of it, how to use this in our experience, how to use this to produce better insights, how to use this to do better operations, all those things come into play. So it's not like you have to redo everything, but a lot of times organizing the data in the right way is important for the right context. So it could involve data could sit in different places, but you could connect them virtually through different mechanisms, right? Or you could use the data for consumption layer differently than the way you'll do that for transaction layer. With today's technologies, I think we have a lot more flexibility that we don't necessarily need to redo the layer, but we can apply technology in the right way to actually get to where we need to go to.
Got it. So reorganization to take advantage of newer technologies, machine learning, artificial intelligence, et cetera, to help benefit the experience view of the client. So from understanding the transformation of data capabilities, it also involves the transformation or transforming the organization to become a data-driven culture. Could you share with us some of the ways that Fidelity has enabled the data-driven culture?
Yeah, no, for sure. So I would say I think Fidelity has made a lot of strides in the last 5-10 years I've been here to become more data-driven culture. I think culture change is extremely hard as it takes time. It's a long process. But I've seen areas where we have done well and continue to do more and more. You could think about maybe 3 or 4 different aspects. One, just learning and education. Just education on data capabilities, what data can do, how to do it. I think that kind of investment in our associates, in our business leaders, um, has been going on for some time, and we need to continue to go on to make sure that actually how to use data, how to be thinking about data that becomes much more pervasive in our organization, whether to our associates or leaders. I think that's one aspect. Second is around the leadership. I think it's important that our leaders in today's world and in the future are much more data driven. They make decisions based on data. They're using data for deciding what to build, how to organize, how to operate. And that becomes part and parcel of leadership. I would say we have made a lot of progress. In fact, if I look around my peers, not just within Fidelity, but in the industry, I think it'll be very hard for somebody to lead without being data driven these days. It's going to be very hard. And then the third thing I would say is around the data measurements, metrics, and decision making based on data. I think more and more we have seen all the decisions, whether it's design decisions, whether it is sales decisions, whether it is service decisions, whether it is business decisions, everything more and more being made out of data. So focus on measurements, KPIs, metrics. I think I have seen a lot of progress and improvement. We have more to do, but I think I've seen a lot of progress in that area, right? And then the fourth area is around just again data capabilities, educating folks on data capabilities. There are always new things coming, and making sure that we treat data as an asset, data as a product, and thinking about that way. I have seen a lot of progress. I would still say I think there's more to do because data is such, you can't really feel and see. It is sometimes difficult to get the same level of engagement that you'll get purely from an experience. And how do we constantly educate folks, drive adoption, drive evangelism from our leadership? I think we have a lot more work to do collectively in the industry to make sure that we'll understand this, especially our leadership understands this, and we continue to focus in this area.